are the French going to lose today? That's the question.
None.
Never mess with tradition.
By the end of today, they'll all be speaking French.
In fact, it couldn't happen till I was a bunch of chaps.
English have got the ships and they've got the skills and they've got the intelligent commanders.
Okay, who are these famous English commanders?
Nelson, Collingwood,
One is going
and
off.
Tony. I'm the third English commander,
Yes.
and I take the rear of the fleet because I'm so old that they won't let me take the front of the fleet.
Rear in Tony.
Rear end, Tony.
Rear Admiral Tony.
Gentlemen, officers, take
You
your
are
station.
super player.
The English are afoot. Sacre bleu, are we? Yes, sir. Tu veux pas ça? Bonjour, bonjour.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, they drove before breakfast.
There's something in that coffee.
Of course, Lord Horatio Nelson was for the English, and his plan was to engage the French as quickly as possible. And Nelson's tactics was to go directly at the fleet in the two columns, and he wanted to get at grips with the French and Spanish fleets and go close range. So we have refighting the battle using 1 to 1200 model ship. So we've got HMS Victory, was commanded by Nelson, Royal Sovereign, commanded by Collingwood, the Porcentaire, commanded by Villeneuve.
We got a base speed of 2 centimeters for every time the ship moves. And if you want to turn to port, you use the other side. So you can go 1 centimeter forward and 1 to turn.
The big advantage the English fleets had was the wind or weather gauge. And with a sailing ship, wind is all important. And unfortunately, the Franco-Spanish fleets were sailing against the wind, and that made it very difficult for them to dictate the battle.
So this little piece of cotton there is giving us the wind direction. And these guys are facing, the wind's in this direction, and these guys are all sailing into 1, so they only get 1, so they're moving 2 centimeters. We're all moving into 4, which is giving us 8 centimeters of movement, which is 4 times 2, so.
These are, there's Delta 1. So Delta 1 has a huge range. Delta 4 here has got a much smaller range, so you'd have to be very close to hit at 98. So that's how we work out the shooting. And once you've hit, the Delta is the damage that's done. So if you hit a Delta 3, you've got 3 damage. You can hit the sails or you can hit the hull. If you hit the sails, it affects your sailing speed. And if you hit the hull, it affects your damage that you can cause. You can only shoot within a certain range after you start losing guns. So they talk about the delta, so that's the highest dice versus the lowest dice. So here it's a 2 and a 4, so the delta is the difference, which is 2. And what we do is, depending on which dice is higher, so for instance, 2 to the 3, that's 1 damage on the hull, because it's a red dice. And because that's a white dice, that's damage to the sails. This gives you a Delta 4, Delta 2, and that's 1 hit on the hull, 1 hit on the sail.
The Spanish are mixed up with the French.
This is the Spanish here.
If we look at the ships here, it would be, if you go further around that side, they've got the flag. You can see there's a Spanish flag there and a French flag.
We are meeting our British or English opponents head on, trying our best to shoot, otherwise we'll fix bayonets, bring them on board and guillotine them. So yes, we're likely going to kind of, unless we turn, we'll kind of T-bone each other and hopefully blow each other to bits beforehand.
Yeah, so this is my spearhead now to take the damage. But
So-
the damage will be spread between the 3 ships instead of
Yeah.
just on one single ship.
So we've been playing for now how long? An hour.
Yeah.
So they've already moved from
From
there
about here.
to there.
Yeah, so you move 8 centimeters or so each turn. And then, that's
And with
got
a
me to
2-knot
here.
wind, more or less.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very slow wind, so you don't move a lot. And that's why the French and the Spanish are pretty much in the same position they started. They're heading almost into the wind. You can see they're busy doing their turning, their tacking maneuver at the top of the thing there. And you can see the Africa at the very top causing problems while they're trying to turn. And then you can see the other ships, the larger ones with the higher amounts of guns. They're busy taking shots at us as we coming in. But in the next turn or two, the smaller ships will be able to hit us as well. And that's when the real battle will actually be starting.
When we use simulated smoke, so when the ship fires its broadside, we'll see the ships will have these broadside shooting markers on them.
It's one hit.
One hole.
No, that's a sail hit there. That's a hull hit there. That's a gun hit there, so it goes to two.
Now, if you throw triple, the difference between the highest and lowest is 0. And we call that a critical hit. So when you throw a triple, you get one of these markers here. Here we have damage to one of the sails, the top gallant sail's been shot away. And here's a fire, the ship has caught fire. And here's a magazine hit, that's where the big drums of barrels can explode, the whole ship can blow up.
So they're now busy going into the center there. You can see they're coming under a lot of fire from the front. They've taken relatively a small amount of damage so far, but they've still got about 3 turns before they get in anyway. As you can see, I've taken 1 damage on the port side, I've taken 1 damage on the sail, and then I've taken 1 on the starboard side over here on the Mars. That's what those little markers are for. On the day, they just went straight in and really got close quartered. So that's what we're going to aim to do today as well. Just get right in there, because also once you start experiencing damage, particularly your front ships, there's you can shoot less far, and the damage is done there. So you want to be up as close as possible to try and do any real damage. Also, when you get in there, you start messing up with their formations, and then their ships start sailing into other ships and blocking shooting avenues and stuff like that. So yeah. And Nelson's philosophy was just get in there and get as close up and personal as possible. So
they're starting to get into range now.
Yeah.
2 critical hits. This is not fair.
2 critical hits, gentlemen.
So there are 2 critical hits here. Both were 3s. It's 1 red and 2 white, which means the foremast was shot away. And the other combat was 2 red and 1 white. And that means the ship is on fire.
And this was another hit here. It was 1 sail, 1 gun.
Delta 1.
Just check the arc.
It's all okay.
We just calculate the total damage first, and then roll for this.
Yeah, you're really good at 425. Well thrown, Craig. How are we doing there? We're doing well.
Neptune has 1 sail left out of her sails. So basically she's out of the game. Africa's got a little bit of damage, but Africa's about to get hit on the other boat sail.
Yeah, exactly. 4 on the red.
On this one, because I'm
Good. So you're going to take Neptune down.
2 red, 1 white.
He's now reached the maximum.
4. So
He's 3 over. He's 3 over now.
His total damage has exceeded his size of his ship. So they give up.
Is he strong?
okay, so you can see now we're getting quite into the action here. You can see by the smoke depicted on all those ships that they are now actively firing at my little arrowhead here. So you can see that the poor Mars has taken a lot of damage on her starboard guns. For all intents and purposes, her guns on the starboard side are completely neutralized. You can see Collingwood's taken a bit of damage on both sides as well as the sail, which is to be expected being in the middle. And then The Belland, which is at the front here, has taken less damage. It's taken 3 on the other guns. But within the next turn, we'll be in the fray there. And you can see at the back, unscathed, and these ones are unscathed. So these will come round and join the battle here, while those 4 will go through the middle. And then we have our reinforcements who are bringing up the rear here, very bravely of them.
The umpire says that the battle is going very well. It's a tight fought contest up to lunchtime. The British are now closing in and the combat is beginning to start now. So the British have taken their casualties coming in, and the French and the Spanish have been doing a good job. So the battle's equal at this stage, but this is where the British get a decisive advantage when they close with the enemy fleet and start shooting at close range.
The Africa is about to come across the bows of the next ship in line. So hopefully it will come across here. And the idea is we will do the same to the next one as we did to this one. Those things are called frigates, and you don't fire on a frigate if you're a captain of a battleship, because it's not cricket. And if you look at the line from here all the way through, how on earth do they communicate from here to there? You only begin to get some idea of the scale when you lay it out like this. You know.
So they would use the frigates?
So they use the frigates. The frigates sit to one side where everybody can see the frigate. And the frigate is the one that relays the orders.
I'm having my flagship shot out from underneath, but that was always going to happen.
Okay.
Flagship taking all of the shooting means that the rest of my line is unengaged and fully intact. So we should hit the combined fleet line in the next 2 to 3 turns. Punch through and then start causing absolute carnage and mayhem.
It's getting better now, and I'm going to be a bit more maneuverable, but it's been a nightmare up to now. And this was reality on the day.
Yeah.
The Spanish and the French were into wind, they could barely maneuver, and they had no forward momentum. So as a result, it troubled them from trying to get out of the way, spare their guns and all that. And that's exactly the problem I've had here, but I've now managed to turn, but I've got the wind now to be a bit more movement.
The van of the British lee column is going to hit the Spanish line.
I'm just writing my
Well done. So now I've got. Now the question is, okay, so I'm shooting Santa Ana onto your different over here. Okay.
That's done. That's done. That's done. That's done. This will be a 4.
5. Do we not get to move?
We move after this.
We've shot in our trades.
Yeah, sure.
Basically starting to get up close and personal. Collingwood's taking serious strain there in Royal Sovereign. And there's about 3 British ships sitting in the middle of a whole melee here of Spanish and French vessels. And they're taking strain. A few more hits down on the Royal Sovereign, and it's Davy Jones locker for them. Good luck. So basically what happens is when the ship reaches its defensive factor, so in this case it was 22, the crew need to test for morale because they might decide that they don't want to fight anymore. So what happened is the English crew tested for morale there and they passed because they're a good quality crew. So they've been hammered, but they're still in the fight for the meanwhile.
And if they don't pass it?
Then they strike the colors like that ship earlier.
Right.
And they strike their colors. They surrender basically. They don't fight anymore. Yeah.
On these charts here, you can see the range he can shoot.
Right.
And for the English, if he's in a broadside here, he can shoot twice. But you see, he's actually not in the broadside arc. He's just in the big arc. So I can only shoot once.
The Neptune's managed to get into a place where it can fire broadsides on 2 ships, and Timori's also in a good position. My flagship is in a spot of bother, but if we can survive the next round, then we're looking good. My second line of ships is about to punch through the gap that my first line makes, assuming that the enemy ships don't strike their colors first.
This could be the coup de grace, you know this?
Delta 2.
So that's 3 over.
And on the same.
2 on the red,
So,
on the red, so 3 on the red on this one. And it'll be 3 here. And Santa, I know I haven't. So we got 1 English surrendered and 2 on the other side.
You can say full sail.
But it's a third though. He's lost a third there.
Sorry?
He's lost a third of his.
Well, he's lost 10 of 17.
Over here.
So what's happened now, the British Vanguards has broken into the combined fleets line, and there's close range fighting going on, and the British reserve support ships haven't arrived yet to support the lead elements, and the British are taking a lot of casualties. Like I anticipate the combined fleet, the French and Spanish, are going to win this battle.
Wow.
Because the British didn't support their frontline ships close enough. This is not what happened in the battle.
No.
So this is a change in the historical result. By looks of things. Yes.
There are 3 British ships which have struck the colors, and 4 French-Spanish ships. So far it looks like the Spanish-French are winning, but time will tell.
In the last 15 minutes, there's been a serious firepower delivered into the Spanish sensor, which they might collapse. But there's still too few British ships in the area, but their squadrons is coming up in the support, so everything's in balance.
Could go either
Battles,
way.
and because the British have got maneuverability, they can bring their guns to bear quickly and rapidly and devastate the Spanish-French line. I'm very frustrated because my ships can't maneuver anymore, and we're not going to be able to shoot anymore. And my biggest ship at the moment has nothing to shoot at. So I'm struggling to move to starboard.
How many ships have struck now on our side? The problem for the English is there is a potential English invasion now. Because they haven't beaten the French and the Frankers decisively.
This is the final throw.
As the sun sets, as the battle smoke disperses, it's discovered that hard fought 6 hours of fighting, and the result is not a decisive victory for the British. And this is not the historical outcome that Nelson wanted.
He's still there taking on that one. This one here should get a medal. He took out this one, he took out this one, and he took out that one.
That's it.
Back to headquarters. Send reinforcements, we're going to advance. At headquarters they heard, send 3 and 4 pence, we're going to advance. So we should thank everyone who was involved in putting this great battle together. The Peninsular Wargames Club, great supporters, and lots of hard work from Craig Nevin again. Craig is the one that essentially designed the rules. Obviously, it has been refined over 20 years. We refought this battle 20 years ago at the Maritime Museum, but we've obviously refined the rules all the time. Thanks to Roy Wayne, who is a member of the Royal Cape Yacht Club, for organising this event. Thanks to Tony Main Price, who's the general manager here. Thanks to the Commodore as well of the Yacht Club for allowing us to use this lovely event, chart room here at the Royal Cape Yacht Club. Thanks to all the members that are joining us today, from Murray MacDonald, Greg MacDonald, Henry van Dijk, David Zucker, my co-director, partner, Tony Bartram, all the players who are joining us today, and thanks to Linda and Darryl as well for joining us today and doing
videography. Main sponsor, Matthews Instant Attorneys, thanks to them for sponsoring the event. But it's going to be a great day for all of us. Thank you.